Energy storage system facility proposed in La Mesa, and some people who live nearby are saying not so fast.
Students on campus at UCSD today gathered to protest against their fellow students having their visas revoked. More from today's protest is coming up.
Homeland Security wants access to confidential IRS records to get the addresses of hundreds of thousands of immigrants.
A major milestone 3 months after the devastating LA wildfires.
Coast to coast on a Vespa. Corey Voss is about to release her documentary.
The Big Scoot.
CBS 8 News Live at 6 starts right now.
We begin tonight with rising tensions in La Mesa, where a proposed battery energy storage facility is sparking concern among those who live nearby. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Carlo Cicchetto.
I'm Marcella Lee. People tell us they're worried about the dangers of lithium-ion battery fires in their neighborhood. And as CBS 8's Brian White reports, they're taking their questions to city leaders at a town hall that's happening right now. Brian?
My feeling is, why would the city of La Mesa want to inflict any kind of physical or fiscal damage on any of its residents?
An 18-megawatt battery energy storage system could go in right here on this empty lot. The purpose? To store supplemental energy from renewables like solar and wind and supply it to the grid during peak hours through SDG&E's substation across the street. But its proximity to homes and shopping in the area has some people pushing back, like La Mesa City Council member Laura Lothian.
There's plenty of places in San Diego County where you could put a battery storage facility that even if something bad happened, it's not going to wreck little schools and little coffee shops and houses.
With at least 3 different fires at battery storage facilities over the past year and a half, including Valley Center, Otay Mesa, and Escondido, many are fearful of the toxic gases and smoke from these fires that can carry on for days.
It is an emerging technology, so it's always a challenge to stay on top of what the current trends are.
Kenneth King is fire marshal for Heartland Fire and Rescue in La Mesa. He says they're looking at whether the project is up to fire code, and they've requested a hazard mitigation plan from the developer.
What the resulting fire would look like, what the resulting potentially toxic gases would impact the community, how the impact spread to neighboring areas and adjacent properties.
Enter Smart Storage is the developer. I reached out to them and have not heard back, but here's what the project would look like. 21 containers on site with a 6-foot wall along El Paso Street and another wall where it backs up to homes that they say would act as a sound barrier. Meanwhile, Councilmember Lothian says the project is pitting climate action goals against public safety. She says some people she talked to nearby feel their voices are not being heard.
You should have a voice, and you actually do have a voice. That's what I love about local politics. If enough people from this neighborhood or from anywhere say, hey, not in my neighborhood, I can see it changing minds.
Now, tonight's discussion is an informal one for those seeking more information, but the project will eventually need approval from the City Council before it can move forward. In La Mesa, Brian White, CBS 8.
Thanks, Brian. A man who was driving a car through Alpine last year with more than 700,000 fentanyl pills was in court today. Jose Ruiz was supposed to be sentenced, but a judge delayed that at the request of Ruiz's attorney, who acknowledged that his client owns 2 guns, which he needs to turn over to authorities before he is sentenced so that he isn't considered a felon in possession of a firearm.
I asserted his name and he admitted he has them, but they're in Mexico. So that's where that issue lies.
Details are known about the criminal case against Ruiz, including how he got the pills and where he was planning to take them. Ruiz had pleaded guilty to having the drugs, but that was under the advice of a different attorney. His new lawyer isn't sure that was the best move and asked for more time to investigate. The judge agreed, citing that reason and the missing guns for delaying the sentencing. A new date was set in June. UC San Diego students are protesting against the federal government revoking the visas of 5 students last week.
The demonstration started on campus and moved to the federal building in downtown San Diego. CBS 8's Alex Cheney joins us live now from UC San Diego with more on what the students there are saying. Alex.
Yeah, Carlo, that's right. Emotions ran high here on campus, where earlier this afternoon they had a protest against several of their fellow students having their visas revoked.
Orders, not nations. Stop the deportations.
Several students at UCSD gathered today to protest what they're calling an unlawful act of several students getting their visas revoked.
No borders, no nations. Stop the deportations. They say the 5 students who had their visas revoked were not given a reason, and one of those UCSD students was detained at the border, denied entry, and then deported.
Honestly, I'm fearful of where this is going. I'm fearful of what changes are going to be made by the Trump administration and how it will continue to go.
The students started in front of the Geisel Library, then marched through campus, got on the trolley.
No hate, no fear. Immigrants are welcome here.
And arrived at the federal building downtown to ask federal immigration judges for help. Students say they want to be able to go to class without fear of deportation.
I think it's important for us to have a reason provided for why these students are losing their F1 visa status. And secondly, it's crucial for us to make sure that their F1 status is being secure. And we need to make sure that these deportations stop immediately.
The UCSD chancellor put out a statement on Friday saying the university did not receive a warning about the visas being revoked and directed students to support groups for help.
Now, one of the students that was an organizer at the protest today sent me a text message to let me know that the Students' Civil Liberties Union met earlier this afternoon to determine what the students are going to be doing next. Reporting live from UC San Diego, I'm Alex Cheney, CBS 8.
Right now, early results show Chula Vista's Republican Mayor John McCann in the lead with 44% of the vote, and Imperial Beach's Democratic Mayor Paloma Aguirre with 32%. More than 50% is needed to avoid a runoff. The other candidates in the race are far behind the two frontrunners. The registrar says turnout was just over 15%. Aguirre and McCann will most likely face off in a runoff on July 1st.
San Diego lifeguards wrapped up their first day of a massive drill that simulated a plane crash in Mission Bay. More than 200 first responders from multiple agencies took part in the exercise to sharpen their rescue efforts in case of a real emergency. Today's practice scenario was a commuter plane colliding with a Cessna and crashing into Mission Bay. Volunteers acted as injured patients to create realistic urgency for responders. We spoke with a lifeguard chief about today's drill.
It's just a good opportunity for all the players here in San Diego to get together, test their skills, ability, and equipment, and then get to face-to-face. That's really a huge benefit for a first responder. When they show up on scene, they know who the other players are that are coming to help them. They know their capabilities. They know the equipment they have.
The exercise continues tomorrow on a smaller scale when dive teams will conduct an underwater investigation.
A heads up to San Diego homeowners, the second installment of your property taxes is due tomorrow. If you don't pay by then, you'll be hit with a 10% penalty and a $10 fee. You can pay your second installment online. The county does expect property tax payments to generate a record $9.1 billion. There's less than a month until the federal deadline to have a real ID to fly.
We'll tell you how long some people are saying they're waiting at the DMV for one. Still ahead.
Plus, we hear from an immigration lawyer amid growing concern over reports of travelers being stopped at U.S. airports based on what they've shared on social media.
And the major milestone reached today in Los Angeles, 3 months after devastating wildfires.
Lots of sunshine in the forecast for today. We're starting to see some of that marine layer rolling back on shore, and that's going to favor coastal communities. But with all that sunshine, we're also talking about warmth and even warmer temperatures for the next couple of days. We'll take a look at your complete forecast ahead.